I want to address the Assyrian flag controversy really quick. And this is my new book, which I think is a very good effort. And I think it's a very helpful book. It's got a lot of valuable information made accessible to a wider and general audience instead of a scholarly tome. I think your general person should be able to engage the information in this book and hopefully put it to good effect. So, one of the reasons why I was attacked for this book is the cover. Oh, it's got an alteration or modification of the Assyrian flag, but other books by Assyrians. And the objection is it's a tiny, tiny faction of Assyrians who hate Jesus. That's what it comes down to. They hate Jesus. They hate the church. They hate the New Testament. They hate Marmari, Mar-Adai. They hate everything it represents. And I guess they want to elevate the Assyrian identity above God. It's folly. God has a plan for the Assyrian identity, and it's good. I'm not against the Assyrian identity, but everything has to come under Christ. Christ above all. So that's why I have Jesus over that. Now the attack against me is like, oh, how dare you, our sacred relic, our emblem, this flag, which was made around 1970, 1975, was kind of foisted upon the Assyrian people. I like the flag, except the pagan image of... I'm not even bothered by the star, because the star could be interpreted several ways. So you have two pagan images. You see, this represents the homeland, Mesopotamia, the rivers, right? And in the other versions of this flag, you have a star there, and a star could represent a star. But to some people, it represents Shamash, the Assyrian and Babylonian god of the sun, but also of law. And they have an image which they associate with Ashur. And scholars debate if that's a depiction of Ashur, but they believe it is. So we're going to have the god Ashur, maybe the personification of the Assyrian identity as a god, but it's a pagan god over the flag. And I think that's an affront to God. I am the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. God and God alone. What about the work of Thomas and Thaddeus and Mari? And as I mentioned in another video, we have 8 apostles to the Assyrians. 8. 4 from the 12 disciples, because you have Thomas and Bartholomew and James, Simon and Jude, right? This is traditions. And then from the 70, we have Mar-Adai, Marmari, Mar-Agai, and Abdias, or Obadiah. That's 8. So Jesus sends, if these traditions are true, Jesus Christ sends four men from the 12 apostles. And that's a third of them. Jesus sends a third of the 12 apostles just to the Assyrians. And he sends 4 from among the 70 apostles, the 70 disciples, to the Assyrians. So that's significant. I mean, that's an honor that no other nationality or ethnicity received. And we're just going to toss that aside? And like I said, the Assyrian people, the historians believe the Assyrian nation emerged in 2025 BC. Now we're 2025 AD. And that means for half of the history of the Assyrian people, they've been followers of Jesus Christ. And that should be recognized, acknowledged. And we need the blessings for the one true God, who outside of the Jews, and maybe the Egyptians, you have the special relationship from God as a sort of a chosen people. So I don't want to talk about the Egyptians in more videos, but we're looking at the Assyrian flag right now. So the issue is, I've gotten compliments on this cover. They say, oh, what a beautiful cover. It's so engaging and attractive. And it's like, oh, thank you. It raised a big stink. But like I said, I'm a preacher. I'm a pastor. I'm an evangelist. I'm a Bible scholar. I have a doctorate in religious studies. I'm not going to put an image of a pagan god over anything. Yahweh above all. So what happened is, actually I was inspired to design the cover from an Assyrian. An Assyrian's looking at the flag and says, it doesn't really represent me. So the Assyrian took off Ashur and he took off Shamash and he just placed a cross in that. And I want to mention really quick that I'm not against the ancient Assyrian cultural identity with the architecture or iconography. like Lamasu's. I've written on ancient Near Eastern mythology. I enjoy it. I think it's very interesting. And some of the religious practices. Honestly, some of them, like what Lucian of Samosata writes about, what went on in some of their temples, is disgusting. I was aghast to read about it. King Abgar, once he converted, he allowed them to worship the old gods, but he abolished some heinous practices that were associated with that, such as castrations in the temple. Early church fathers and ancient historians mention specifically that Abgar put an end to that practice. So I'm not against history. I'm not against ancient culture. I'm not against using the architectural style. I'm not against the Lamasu. The Lamasu is the equivalent of a cherub. I'm not saying we shouldn't learn about these ancient stories of their religion. I'm just saying if you have a flag, an emblem, a standard that represents the Assyrian people, and we're a Christian, the Assyrian people are a Christian people, we should glorify God. If we're going to glorify a God, right, we should glorify the one true God who's brought salvation. And like I said in the earlier video, you think about the Assyrian Empire. Oh, wow, one of the first outside of Egypt. You could argue Egypt's a little earlier, but outside of Egypt, the first great ancient empire of the ancient world, the Assyrian Empire. And it's like, the Assyrians actually conquered more territory with the gospel of Jesus Christ, taking it to the far reaches of the world, to India and China and Socotra, down into Africa. Then the territorial expansion of the Assyrian nation or spiritual kingdom of God was more expansive than anything that happened under the ancient empires. Plus, they're better people for it. I mean, I admire the ancient Assyrian Empire, but you had brutality and atrocities that were committed. In some ways we're no better, but we should aspire to better, right? And that's what Christ and his apostles did. So what I'm saying, sorry, I have a tendency to go on too much. So this is the flag I put on the cover, a modification of the flag, alteration. So I decided to put together a short video showing Assyrian flags redesigned by Assyrians. And it's like, I'm not going to put, in this little short video here, I'm not going to put my modification or my designs. None of these are by me, right? All the flags you're going to see in this short video, and I think I've left out like 5 other ones I found because I didn't have space to put them in there because I wanted people to look at it. I was looking at it, it's like, oh, they need to see these flags. But these flags, which I'm showing in this video, were not designed by Dr. Stephen and Andrew Missick. They're designed by Assyrians. And this whole issue was brought up by an Assyrian, saying, I'm an Assyrian, I'm a patriot, and I feel like that flag doesn't, he was saying, I don't feel like that flag represents me as an Assyrian Christian with pagan iconography on it. About the flag, what do I have to say? Well, Assyrians have already been dealing with it, as we're going to see in this video. My recommendation, and a lot of Assyrians I've seen Assyrians just not including Ashura on the flag. That's one solution. Don't put Ashura on the flag. The biggest solution is for Assyrians not to display the flag with the banner or standard of the pagan god Ashura on it, or fold it or display it in such a way where that's not shown. There are other flags, and I think about the Agaputros flag, which says, the Agaputros flag, which says, have faith in God and follow the cross. That flag was forged in the battlefield when the Assyrian people were fighting for their very own survival under the leadership of Agaputros. That flag should be recognized and honored, I believe. You also have the flag of the Holy Image of Edessa, which was designed by the flag that was designed, according to the ancient sources, by King Abgar himself. So an Assyrian king made the Holy Image of Edessa into a flag, a standard, a banner, and he displayed it outside of the gates of the city so everyone could see. So that's an ancient 2,000-year-old Assyrian flag, which is described in the ancient sources and can be recreated. And then we have the flag. I remember I was kind of moved. I was at the Ashurbanipal Library, and this is one of the older locations in Chicago, and there was the tattered battle flag of Agaputros. A red banner with a white cross on it, and the words in Aramaic, trusted God and follow the cross. And it's like, that's a better flag. So what Assyrians should do, in my opinion, is if you want to find the flag, fine. But the Assyrians are already mad. This video, I didn't create any of these flags. It's not my flag. These are modifications to the Assyrian flags made by Assyrians, because this is maybe I'm attracting attention to it, but this is an issue that many Assyrians have, and it's only really the only issue is the pagan god on Ashur. And I'm not gonna. I guess you could say, and the first redesign I saw, the person took an issue with Ashur and Shamash, both. But my issue isn't, like I said, a star could be interpreted in various ways. It's emblazoned with a pagan god as an affront to the Holy Trinity, really. So we're going to have these. I want to show these videos. So you can watch this video. You can see all these flags, and this shows that Fred Apram's issue is attacking me is ridiculous, because every single one of these flags you see in this video was created not by Dr. Missick, but by Assyrians and other Syriac and Aramaic peoples. So what should Assyrian people be doing? Should they be getting all hot and bothered and upset about the flag? No. What should Assyrians be doing? I like what Mar Awa and Mar Georgis are doing, going back to the homeland and maintaining a presence there in our ancestral homeland. If you want there to be an Assyrian autonomous zone or whatever, you have to have people there, right? If everybody's gone, how's it going to happen? God can make anything happen. Nothing's impossible with God. But I think it's imperative. And the other thing, it's like these Muslim savages are going around desecrating the graves of Assyrians' forefathers or mother, not ancient graves, but recent, going into cemeteries and opening the graves, knocking over the tombstones. So that's unacceptable. We have to. That's a job. People over there. Oh, we need employment. Well, maybe we need to hire people, pay people to, guard, rotation, go around and make sure that because these cowardly barbarians, if there's somebody there often or regularly, they're not going to go in there and commit these disgusting, deplorable acts. Also, what I'm trying to do in this book, if this book succeeds with Assyrians, but also with people who are non-Assyrians, Tucker Carlson he's paid off by the terrorists now. I believe he has aligned himself with Islam, with a dangerous terrorist state of Qatar. And the Qataris, they don't want Ted Cruz. They don't like AIPAC. They're starting to attack Christians. And why are the Qataris concerned about dispensationalism, replacement theology, what evangelical preachers are preaching? Because based on their interpretation of the scriptures, evangelical Christians or a subsection of them are vital in their voters, vital in support for Israel. Israel has been able to depend on the support of evangelical Christians. It makes a big difference. And the Qatari are so concerned about it that they send a foreign agent, a spy, somebody sold out his country to terrorists, Tucker Carlson. That ambush interview he gave, you can agree with him or not, but he did that in the behest of his Qatari overlords. He's a minion of terrorists, Islamist terrorists. We're supposed to love everybody. Love the truth, hate the lies. Islam's a lie. Judaism's, the religion, is not. If you don't acknowledge God, the Son of God, it's not true either, right? But we love people. We love Arab people. We love the Jewish people. And we should want peace for everybody. We should find a peaceful settlement where people can coexist. And that's what the Christian ethos, I believe, and the moral structure taught by Christ. You don't hate Jews. You love them. Paul says, inasmuch as it is possible with me, I want to live in peace with all people. Sometimes you have to fight back. That's just the way the world is. But Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. But what I'm saying is, what if the evangelical community in the United States supported the Assyrians and Christians in the Middle East in general as fervently as they support Israel, or some of them do? Well, it'd probably make a big difference, right? A lot of people don't even know who the Assyrian people are and who they are, and that they even exist. And worshiping pagan gods will make them more bizarre and incomprehensible to most people. It's the Christian identity that needs to be celebrated. God has a plan for the Assyrian people. And God's going to bring it to realization. We can't be as distracted by the flag. There are important things that need to be done. Like, what if this book is successful and, people learn about the Assyrians and what happened, who they are, their history, have a general knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, and forging new relationships can bring about change the world. Knowledge and power and forging new relationships can bring about change and even change the world. So here's the video. Look at all these flags. I didn't create any of these flags. I mean, you have the altercation, the flag modification on the cover of my book, which is just a book cover. What are people just going insane about that? And like I said, with Fred Abram, read the book. Attack me for the content of the book, not for the cover. So without further ado, let's look at this video where you can see all these. And like I said, this is a kind of cursory search, and all these flags came up. But there's, like I said, there's a lot more things that are more important, way more important than the flag. Outreach, engagement, information, creating awareness, taking meaningful, decisive action. Those are things like the Armenian Assyrian community. We need to build that up, help them. Armenia is important because they're close to the homeland. And you don't have Sharia law, you don't have the Dahimi status. We could create a thriving Assyrian community in Armenia, which is we should be doing things like this, not fighting over a flag. It's ridiculous. So watch this video, and I guess you can like, comment, share, and subscribe, and so we can actually start doing things that are important and getting things done that need to be done. So thank you, and God bless you.